Okay, for this week's activity, you're going to be doing some coloring is what you're going to be doing, and we're going to be using a program called Pixlr. But before we do that, we want to go and get some coloring book pages. So if you just open up good old Google, open up any old tab here, and do coloring pages for kids. Now make sure you do coloring pages for kids. If you just do coloring books or anything like that, you're going to get some strange responses. So try to focus on the ones for kids. Once you get into this, you'll see there are a whole bunch of coloring book pages it'll show here. If I just click on images, it will show me all the different images that I have to pick from. I've done a couple of these today. I did the dog earlier with another class. I did the minion. Those both worked fine. So I'll do the fish this time is what I'll do. So when I click on the fish, I have the image here basically, and notice on the bottom right here, it says 1024 by 792. That tells me the size of the image. So that's a good size actually for me to work with. Now on a Mac, I click on Control and then Save Image As, but I believe if you're using a Chromebook, it's Alt and then click, and it will allow you to save image as. However you do it, it doesn't really matter to me. Just make sure you get this to where you have save image as, because you have to download this image off the web first. When it goes to download, you're probably going to have an option, give it a name. I'm just going to call this fish because it's pretty basic. Notice it's going into my downloads folder, so I can save that. Now I'm going to open up another tab, and I'm going to go to Pixlr. Now I said the link is on Schoology, so if you take a look at the link there, you'll be able to find it, but it's Pixlr. Once you get into Pixlr, you're going to scroll down just a little bit, and you'll see where it says Advanced Pixlr E. That is what you want. So click on Advanced Pixlr E, and you'll see some of the pictures that I have done earlier today. But all you have to do is over on the left-hand side where it says Open Image, click on that. Once you have Open Image there, you'll notice I got a bunch of downloads here, and I'm just looking for the fish is what I'm looking for. And then here's my basic fish that shows up. So what I want to do is I want to color this fish. So in order for me to go through and color this fish, I need to familiarize myself a little bit with the tools on the left-hand side. If you just put your mouse over each tool, it's got a nice little pop-up there that shows you what each one of the tools does. In this case, I want to do the fill tool is what I want to do. So I'm going to click on that little paint bucket there. And then right down here, you'll notice there are some colors. So let me just move this little thing out of the way here. There's some colors, there's yellow and black. Now that yellow and black, that's my foreground color and background color. And I'm going to talk a little more about those later. But for now, since it's already set for yellow, I'm just going to go ahead and click on the paint bucket and then fill this area in yellow. All it takes is a tap. Now, if I want to change the color, if I click on the color selection tool, notice there are some colors that show up here at the bottom, but you can also pick any shade color that you want by picking the color picker and doing it like this. So if you want the absolute truest blue, you could do it that way if you like. And we'll just do one of the scales is what we'll do. I'll maybe do one more. This is looking more like a grossmont fish all the time. So I would expect you to go through and give this many different colors. Just show me that you're able to do it. And this is one way to color. Okay, you're going to do 3 of these images of what you're going to do. And the first one, the one that could be the most basic, that could be this one. And then I would like you to do one that's a little more sophisticated, but it takes a few more clicks. So let me go to File, Open Image again here. And I'm going to go back to this fish because I haven't saved this quite yet. And this is my original again. Well, this time I want to be a little more sophisticated with my shading. So what I want to do is I want to use what's called the gradient tool. The gradient tool is right next to the fill tool, so it's right here. When you click on the gradient tool, one of the things about this particular tool, let me get this ad out of the way. And let me move myself here out of the way. There we go, so we can see everything. So once I'm in this, I can go through and make this go from one color to another. So in this case, we've got blue to black. And what a gradient does is it goes from one color to the next. And if you notice, that's exactly what it says here. Grades, blends with different colors, transparencies. And we're not going to mess around too much with the transparencies. But in order to effectively use this tool, though, you have to select an area first. Now that selection is going to be right up here in the magic wand tool, and that's the tool up there. It's the second on the right, I guess is what you call from that toolbar. And if I click on the magic wand tool and I click inside this area here, you'll notice all this area around the fish has become selected. Okay, that makes my life really easy. So now all I need to do is once that area is selected and I go to the gradient tool, when I click this, it's going to start at the first color and then end at the second one. So if I click at the top here and drag this straight down like this, it's going to start from blue and end up being black when it gets to the bottom. Okay, that's one way to do it. I could go the other direction and go from the blue and then drag it up to the top. That's another way to do it. So as you do this, and let's just say, okay, that doesn't really look realistic. You know, that what is realistic is when it's lighter blue, and then as you get deeper in the ocean, it gets darker. You can also control how far the gradient goes too. It depends on how long you go from one click to another. You could do a relatively shallow gradient. You'd also go in a different direction if you wanted the light coming from a different way. If you really got particular about it. This is not an art class, but you know, it's optional. So let's just say, okay, I want this to be, you know, a little more uniform from blue to black. And then I'm good with this. So in order for me to color anything else, the first thing I have to do is I'm gonna have to deselect all that area. And then once it's deselected, now I can go through and make some more modifications. I would do the same thing. I would go to the magic wand tool and I would click this area in here with the mouth. Let's change this back to the yellow because I kind of like the idea of having that Grossmont fish. It's going from yellow to black currently, and I kind of don't want that. I want it to be like yellow to like a darker yellow. So let me make it about like this. And now when I do my gradient tool, because I already have that area selected, it's going to show up like that. Yeah, it's about like I want it. And then I'm going to go to select and then deselect. And then we're looking pretty good here. So what you're going to do is once you finish your image, you're going to go to File, Save. And you're going to download this image again. Now, if I go to download this, if I just click on download here, it should have rewritten over the other one that I have. But notice it's got this number 1 next to it on the bottom right. So it's still called a fish, but it's called fish 1. So you just have to pay attention to what these things are called. So when you go back to Schoology to upload these, they all go to the same thing. You'll be doing 3 of these. What 3 you pick, entirely up to you. Most important thing is that you go through and you have fun with this activity.